Hi. It's they were here last weekend. The professionals who come and help you sort through your stuff and either take it to storage or take it to the dump or help you sort it so that you can put it away into an appropriate place in your apartment. As I say, I may be moving the next few months, so there's a little bit of doubt of where things are going to go here in the house, but certainly the things that are here now are manageable, even if there's still stuff. There's more co-op ordered work that needs to be done, so not everything is put away. Nonetheless, it's certainly not as overwhelming or uh, it's chaotic. It's organized mess now. It's all in bins. It's all in boxes, and it's all labeled. Um, but it got me thinking about not the physical clutter, but the mental clutter. Now, if you don't have it, that's wonderful, and you are blessed. But if you're like me, there's all kinds of stuff running around your head. And on a personal note, in my particular cases, there's also ADD to contend with. I do take medication for it, so it keeps the amount of chatter under control. But sometimes some of that chatter can go into places where it really shouldn't. Um, you know, as musicians, especially, we are perfectionists. We are taught to strive for perfection, and we forget that sometimes that we are always looking to improve ourselves. That doesn't mean that where you are right now falls short of a standard where you need to be or where you should be right now. We only fall short of where we want to go next. And I read about this in a book about writing, actually, that often we should look at our own work as if you were a James Bond on a mission, just cold and calculated, see what's wrong or see what you don't like, just clinically don't like, and say, how do we fix this? What can I do to mess with that? And what can I toy with to make it better? Um, Point being, though, uh, there's a little goblin that lives inside many of our heads and is really good at sabotaging those efforts. And what do you do about that? And I don't know. My little creature goes as far as to impose some of those negative thoughts and put onto the people who I respect the most, and uses their voices to say it back to me. And first of all, we have to realize that we're the ones that are doing it. Case in point, I was really mortified about the professionals coming in here. And those guys looked around and said, man, if this was a hiking trail, this would be a green trail. And you have no idea what we see, and don't you worry. That's why we're here. And so stop apologizing. The next day, the next level of work, the next part of the work that needed to be done, my friend, who also was the super of this building, came up to pitch in. And I talk about being embarrassed. I mean, he came on his day off, and he says, "Greg, stop, because stop being upset at me, being self conscious about this." He goes, "We're all good at different things, uh, and that's what you call on your friends and people that love you to help you out, because nobody should do these things by themselves." And he and my girlfriend, who is a wizard at this sort of thing, sat together, had a wonderful time talking and catching up while they did stuff that I'm just simply not very good at, which is sorting things and putting them into categories for me to deal with. And and I should add that the reason this man is well suited to his job simply because Muhammad is one of the most fastidious, clean, and precise human beings I know, and I've seen him in the basement at 2:30 in the morning painting the floor again because it's dirty and it bothers him. Okay, that gives you an idea. So I always imagined I can hear that voice of this man who I love and respect coming in here and going, "Oh boy, this guy's a mess." And that, if he thinks that, he certainly didn't tell me that. In fact, he told me quite the opposite. So what do you do about those voices? Well, first you realize that they're not reality. And second, I find that when you try to push those negative thoughts or that mean voice away, it's going to push back, or they're going to push back. So one of my strategies has been to decide I'm just going to allow it to be and let it sit in the room with me and just tell it, you don't get to control me and you don't get to have this kind of power. It works most of the time, but just like we work on our scales and we work on our sounds and our embouchures and whatnot, this also takes practice. It's simple, and it's also very difficult at times, especially when things get tough. When you have a performance coming up, and you're like, I knew I should have practiced a little more last week, or I could have studied the score a little more before going into sub in a show, because I'm going to be right under the gun in that first show that you play and that you sub in is your audition, and boy oh boy can things start to cycle. So that's one strategy. Again, people that you're close to, people who you trust, you can talk to them about it. Just as I called the professionals to help clear my physical clutter, there's no shame in calling the professionals to help you clear your mental clutter. In my case, we figured out that I have a rip-roaring case of inherited HD, AD, not ADHD, but just ADD. And gosh, a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the negativity just goes away with the medicine simply because it helps me organize my thoughts. It slows everything down. I had a professor, my clarinet teacher in college, Michael Galvan, used to say to me, God, sometimes I can actually hear you thinking. And that really wasn't an exaggeration. So, first of all, let's all be nice to ourselves, yeah, and take a few breaths. Of course, we've all read those books and taken those courses about breathing and meditating. It's all very valid. I did one last summer through the Digital Clarinet Academy, who's not paying me to say this. I just think they're terrific, and this was something that they offered with a lot of people who are skilled in this area. Um, but for me, in addition to those things, it's simply a practice of doing what Helen Hayes said in a book of hers when these little goblins show up, just saying, stop, stop. And I find I don't push because they push back. So I let them hang out and just say, yeah, you can talk all you want to. It's not going to bother me. What do you do? What are some of your strategies? Something I'd love to discuss with you if you ever want to. I'm here. So, but anyways, I hope your thoughts are happy ones and that you're finding all sorts of successes that you seek. And I guess that's it.